Welcome back to the 5th episode of the Diving Into Sports podcast with your hosts Lyle
and Nash.
Henry. Let's dive into today's topic. So the Genesis Invitational finished up yesterday on the PGA Tour. What a tournament it was, with Jon Rahm adding another tournament to his trophy case, finishing at 17 under, putting him at double-digit wins in his career, 10 PGA Tour wins for him. Max Homa finished in second, another great tournament for him in California at 15 under, and then Cantlay in third at 14 under. It was a great, fun tournament to watch. Many stars and a lot of great highlights. So Nash, what did you take away from this week?
I thought it was cool to see Tiger back in action and seeing the big names leading like Rahm and Homa as their hot streaks continue. It was really a fun week in California, and it will continue next week in Florida at the Honda Classic.
Well, this is where, in my opinion, the PGA Tour starts to ramp up, with the Arnold Palmer and the Honda Classic coming up, and then the Players, and then we get into some majors. But as far as this week, a lot of big names at the top. I mean, Homa, Rahm, Cantlay, and now Zalatoris is finding his game after that back injury again. And Keith Mitchell in 5th place, he has had strung together a few great weeks out of kind of nowhere, but I love seeing his success. He won the Honda Classic in 2019, and he isn't in the field for next week as of now, but he'll have the opportunity to play with his top 10 finish this week. So I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to do well on the PGA Tour, hopefully. And then another shout out I'll give is to Matt Kuchar, who finished at 10 under, and I love seeing him do well. He had a 4 under, 67 round 4, and bounced back after a 71 round 3, but it was good for him to get his feet back in a good tournament and have a good finish, 10 under overall.
There were a lot of good stars there at the top, and another one that's an up-and-comer is Sahith Theegala, who hasn't won a PGA Tour tournament yet, but he's been close quite a few times, including this. He finished tied for 6th at 11 under, and I think he's a name to watch for upcoming tournaments to maybe get his first win.
And Shane Lowry, too, up there at 7 under, who did not do well at all at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, but did very well this week. And then the Norwegian, who I like a lot, Victor Hovland, finished at 5 under and just continues to do well. He was in contention at this past year's British Open, and it just seems to always be in the running. He's such a good driver and just is an all-around great golfer.
Yeah, and another big name that played this week was Tiger. I mean, he hasn't played in a long time, mainly the majors at this point, but as he's the host of the tournament, he decided to play, and he actually did pretty well. 1 under finish for him, so he made the cut, and he proved that he still can play in contention with others on the professional level.
Yeah, it was really great to see him back out there, and honestly, just making the cut, in my opinion, should be a win for him after that car accident. And then we know he has potential, but just getting back into the rhythm of making cuts and doing well, I think he could get win number 83 sometime soon, but maybe not right now.
And someone that tied with him at 1 under at the end was Adrian Meronk, who's had great success on the DP World Tour lately, and he's from Poland actually, and he's 6'7", so a taller guy, and he's done well in the PGA Tour tournament chances he's had, so he's another name that I think will continue to show up in the top of the leaderboard as we continue on the PGA Tour this year.
And I just want to touch on Jason Day too. I mean, he just continues his hot streak at 9 under this week, another top 10 finish, and then Ricky Fowler too at 5 under. Those two players, Ricky and Jason, both seem like they have gone through their ups and downs really, but I just love seeing them do well on the PGA Tour. They just seem to add so much and are so fun to watch.
It's interesting, I'm looking at the leaderboard now, and Rahm is the only non-American that finished in the top 8 actually. because Kuchar was 8th and then Day was tied for 9th Australian. That's interesting to note, but Rahm won, so.
Yeah, I mean, as we said earlier, there were just so many names that just kept giving us more highlights. There were some great shots this week, and I am also very excited for the Honda Classic next week, which we'll do a podcast on, and I'm very excited for it for many reasons. The finishing holes are great, but this Riviera is just so hard to beat. I mean, it's an outstanding course. Tiger, the tournament host, many players say this is one of their favorite stops throughout the year. And someone like Tyrrell Hatton, too, who's played a few weeks in a row on the PGA Tour, he's made the cut both times, and I love seeing him out there as well.
Yeah, he's another name that's done well on foreign tours like the DP World Tour. He's found great success there and hasn't always carried that over to PGA Tour, but he has the last couple of weeks, and I think he could get a win sometime soon on the PGA Tour for sure.
Yeah, and just for the up-and-comers, Justin Suh, who won the Corn Ferry Tour last year, who we had a chance to see in person, he made the cut this week and finished at 2 under overall. And hasn't had the greatest start to his PGA Tour career, but as far as this year, but he did great on the Corn Ferry Tour, and now maybe he can string together a few made cuts and maybe get a top 10 finish soon.
Yeah, and another up-and-comer I like a lot is Kita Nakajima, a Japanese golfer who's a former world amateur #1, who's one of my favorite golfers professionally right now. I think he has a lot of upside for the future. He just barely missed the cut at over 2 this week, but I think he'll find great success soon on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I mean, we could go on forever about different golfers and their backstories and how great this week was, but there are a few key takeaways. Tiger Woods playing, obviously Jon Rahm winning, and then, in my opinion, just, for example, Sahith Theegala and Keith Mitchell, they are 2 players that just are desperate for a win. They've just done so well lately. And as we said earlier, we'll look forward to the Honda Classic next week, but that's it for us.
Thanks for tuning in.
Remember, you can listen to Diving into Sports on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Pocket Casts, and Stitcher. We'd love it if you could follow us on all of those platforms. And check out our Twitter account. Our handle is @NashAndLyle.
By the way, we're now available on Google Podcasts as well.